What's going on, YouTube? Metal Complex here, and welcome to episode 26 of my Sunday series, The Knife Guy. If you are new to my channel, or you're new to this series, or you just came out of some random corner of the internet and you have no idea where you are or who I am a knife enthusiast, knife collector, knife user, enjoyer of knives. I am a knife guy. A lot of us who are watching this right now are knife guys and gals of all different types from all different walks of life. We got into this hobby, for one reason or another, through one path or another. We all have our own unique paths, but as we all continue down, this same sort of collective path of enjoying cutlery, there are a lot of intersections, there are a lot of common experiences that we all share, and I try to cover what I think are common experiences. So each episode has its own sort of thing. What I like to do is, I've got a lot of knives laid out that are either mine, or they are knives that some generous viewers, or in this case, actually, this came from Neves Knives, another great channel. If you haven't checked them out, you should. The Best Egg Paladin. And I just kind of pick them up and I flip them. A lot of people have asked me, where did this come from? It came from watching Jim Skelton's old videos where he used to do like the knife rambles, and he just laid a bunch of his knives out and he just picked them up and flipped them out and talked about them when he talked about whatever, and I, for whatever reason, found that very relaxing and enjoyable. So, and I know you guys like to lay around and kind of, just relax on Sundays, or maybe it's not Sunday, maybe it's a weekday and you're driving in your vehicle somewhere far off and you want something to listen to, or you're doing some chores and you like the background noise. That's what this is. So today's topic is one that I've avoided for a very long time because it's a little bit of a negative topic, but it's also one that affects all of us and is currently affecting some of you. I have viewers that are not in the United... I'm from Kansas, the dead center of the United States. Nobody cares about what we carry here. We can carry switchblades. We can carry daggers. We can carry swords if we want to. We can walk down the street with a claymore on our back. Not the mine from Call of Duty. No, like what William Wallace carried, right? We can we can do that if we want to. That's the sword thing is absurd, but we're not limited. That's great, but a lot of the world is, right? And that affect... Now, a lot of people are like, I don't care about the rest of the world. In my area, I can carry whatever I want. Why would I care? Well, because knife manufacturers, knife makers are limited, right? Because they have to consider their business model, but they also are wanting to cater to everybody. And the people that live in these areas, it's not their fault. Oftentimes, my understanding is unfair knife laws are often in place. Now, this isn't a political channel, but I'm going to agree with a lot of the other channels who have said this. It seems like a lot of these knife laws are in place to kind of... They are a catalyst for manipulation. People who are, easily scared by objects like this. And there's a lot of people out there. It's like, well, if we create a knife law, it's a means of manipulation. I think it's got multiple layers to it. It's like an onion. We don't have to go into it. They are kind of ridiculous. Doug Ritter is an advocate for knife rights, knife laws, and he's done some amazing things, which is why, if you don't know, not only is his RSK MK1G2 made by Hogue, one of the best freaking folding knives that are out there, but it's made by somebody who knows folding knives and really cares about the knife community and what's fair and what's not fair. And we need people like him, because without people like him, I wouldn't be able to bring you content like this. You guys know that I make money on ad revenue. My channel is it's monetized. That's why you saw an ad likely before you watched this. I make money on that, and that money helps. It helps with shipping costs, getting knives that are lent to me back to people who have lent them to me, and paying for insurance. A lot of the knives that show up here are very expensive custom knives, so big costs associated with that. So that helps me bring content to you. The fact that I'm able to be monetized, I count my blessings for that every single day. I consider myself fortunate, because any day, advertisers could decide, we don't like advertising our product, right before somebody talks about knives, because knives make people uncomfortable. So they pull out, and the monetization, that YouTube deems my channel as inappropriate for the vast majority of viewers, because at some point, hypothetically, let's say the vast majority of viewers consider all knives to be scary, dangerous, deadly weapons. Well, then I get my monetization pulled, my advertising pulled. Then I don't have nearly as much to use for the costs associated with this channel. And it's not just me. I'm sure a lot of you are thinking like, you should just, bring us content of, just goodwill and well, that's great. And I would love to do that. But the fact remains that, the reason that I'm able to bring you guys episodes literally every day, sometimes twice a day, is because I have not only Patreon, but also YouTube ad revenue. So that creates a problem for everybody. And then also, people are, well, okay, fine. We can't watch knife stuff on YouTube anyway. I can still enjoy it. Well, then let's say the knife laws get stricter because more people are afraid of them. And then the politicians see, hey, here's an opportunity to use this to kind of, again, I don't want to go into that, but so that creates an issue. And then people, the big companies making knives, they have to change their business model. They're trying to, at the same time, they're still trying to sell a product, keep knives legal, but then we're limited, right? This knife 10 years from now, we'll be lucky if we see stuff like this 10 years from now. Because this thing is huge, it deploys quickly, it's aggressive. I don't think so, guys. I mean, I tend to not use words like snowflake or sheeple on this channel because that could mean anybody. Like we're all sheeple in some way, shape, or not. That sounds bad. We can all be convinced to think a certain way or do a certain thing, in some way, shape, or form. Like I myself, right? The only reason I bought the Rat is because so many people were like, it's great. And I was like, I should fall in line. Now, fortunately for me, I actually do consider that knife to be an excellent knife. But there's an example of it, right? We all can be convinced to think a certain way and certain things make us think. So I don't want to say we're all sheeple. I'm saying we all can be convinced to think a certain way. So in that sense, I kind of pity people who look at pocket knives and they go, scary. Oh, I've got people in my own social circle who act like that. And I'm like, why? Chill out. Like, why? Nobody's coming at you. I'm trying to open a box and I don't want to mess with scissors because that's stupid. And then honestly, a lot of times I feel like it's more dangerous to use scissors, but some people are like that. And every day, as this knife, ironically, as the knife world expands and gains more and more and more traction, more people are interested in it, more people are buying knives. So some of these companies grow bigger, and some of the innovations get crazier, and costs of manufacturing go down, and exotic materials that once were exclusive to a certain caliber and a certain price range are now available. Knives like this. Oh my gosh, this is like 5 years ago, this was like a $200 to $300 knife, and you can get the Tucson TS49 for $60. By the way, all of this stuff, if you guys are still watching 8 minutes in, all of these knives except for like the Hinderer and I don't know, anything that's got an Amazon affiliate link, it's all down in there. In fact, I've got everything sorted out for you guys. If you watch my channel because you've got the itch and you just like knives, you like to just collect knives or whatever. If you're watching Knife Guy, there's at least one person out there who feels like that. So down in the description, I've got everything sorted out. Some of the most popular EDC knives of the last 10 years and a lot of the knives that I myself consider to be some of the best stuff, all categorized by manufacturer. I've got expensive knives down there. I've got budget knives down there. I've got EDC gear down there. I've got multi-tools down there. I've got knife maintenance stuff, knife toolkits, WIA stuff, all this stuff. It's all down there. Have a look. I'm sure there's something down there for everybody. But anyways, all these innovations, making all this stuff more available and just, oh, awesome. Well, at the same time, what happens with that is that grows, and then the amount of people that are aware of it and also fearful, there's that I think also grows. And I'm worried about future knife laws. I'm worried about things getting shut down. I mean, even at Blade Show, I've heard, now this is I'm going off on a tangent. It may or may not actually go right with what I'm talking about, but, just people doing stupid things with knives. Like stupid people doing stupid things with knives. Stop doing stupid things with knives and giving the media an opportunity to cast a beam of neon light around your stupidity and by extension, the entire rest of the knife community. That's what happens. I'm sorry that I'm yelling. But that's what happens. You guys know how that works, right? The media and whoever, whatever agenda they're trying to use it for, say, look at that. That is scary. And that person is scary. That object is scary. So, pariah. That's what happens. And then everybody, and then advertisers are like, God dang, well, we can't advertise our product in front of that anymore because everybody thinks that thing is scary and evil. So I guess we're pulling out. Whether we like it or not, the money circulation thing sort of controls all of this. So when that happens, when people are ignorantly fearful, through sometimes no real fault of their own. I mean, I have like certain ignorances that I know I probably should be like, well, I shouldn't think of it that way. Sometimes you prejudge things or people or places, or all of us do that, right? And it's stupid. And some of us can step back and go, that's not really fair, or that doesn't really make sense. That's not logical, and some people are like, well, my way is the only way of thinking, and anything that's different or strange is scary, and I should avoid it completely, and everybody else that I talk to should also avoid it, and I'm going to go out of my way to bring it crumbling down. That sucks. But that's a natural part of everything. What I'm worried about is that, the same thing that a lot of the knife community has been worried about for a long time, is that this is going to affect everybody. It's already affecting Instagram. Certain hashtags are just blocked completely, which is stupid. Now listen, everybody wants to point the finger at, Instagram, or they want to point the finger at, these major companies. All the companies still, there's certain things you could blame, but everybody has to, worry about their business model and keeping afloat, right? The problem is a lot of times it's political. There's a lot of political nonsense that's definitely to blame. General ignorance is to blame, but also definitely when you watch the news and you're like, oh God, you can tell when they're like, this very serious thing is happening. Look at this. Look how serious this is. It's because they know that the people who are watching their network, the people who are likely to be affected by it, will be very affected by it in such mass quantity that it can affect the outcome of whatever agenda they've got. And that sucks. So that is definitely a crappy thing. You guys have all seen the picture of the, it shows like there was you guys have all seen it. It says that there was some news anchors like that, and in the latest news, there was a victim of a stabbing in wherever, and it shows a picture of the quintessential. It's the knife that the guy. It's a buck knife. It's a buck fixed knife. It's like the quintessential scary fixed blade. The satin blade and the black handle. What is it? The buck 112 or the buck? I don't know what it is. It's the knife that the guy who wore the mask in Scream. It's that knife. Right? It's terrifying because and everybody looks at it like, oh, it's actually based. I think it's based on just a military fixed blade. It's a soldier's tool. That's what it is, and it's a tool that many people still use. That's all it is a tool, but it's scary, and they know that, so they use that picture because people, there's just people out there just running around just committing crimes with this really scary knife. That's ridiculous. 99%. On the off chance that someone's out there watching this right now and you're like, this guy's crazy, I'm definitely on the side of the people who are fearful of knives. And you know what? Maybe you're a well-educated person and maybe you have plenty of reason to fear knives. Again, here's something that's really important that I want to point out. Some people legitimately do have a reason to fear knives for one reason or another. Their own unique experiences may be completely different than mine. I've never had a reason to fear a knife because my world has not created a situation where a knife was used as a weapon in my vicinity, by me, by somebody else. It just wasn't a thing. And it was such an isolated occurrence that it was easy for me to associate wrongness with that type of behavior and correctness or rightness. I don't want to say righteousness, rightness, that it was okay to use a knife as a tool, that it was a tool, that's what it was. Some people don't think that way and they have a good reason to think that way. But let's say you're one of those people out there watching this right now and you're like, I don't agree with you. I think knives are dangerous. I think they're being manufactured in a way that does kind of scream weapon, and I think it's not good. I think it's toxic. Well, I'm sorry that you feel that way. I really am. I think that I think that the world of folding knives could be a lot brighter in your eyes. But the main thing that I want to say here, and this is a statistic that everybody can look up. It's like something like 99% of all crimes that are committed with blades are actually committed with like kitchen knives. It's very rare that a crime is committed with a pocket knife, with a folding knife. Most folding knives are made to be tools of convenience. They're just knives that are meant to be like, well, it's easier to carry something like this in your pocket around to do minor cutting tasks that most people would come in contact with. And my buddy Mitch, who I gave the Benchmade Proper to, he was like, dude, I had no idea how often I needed to cut stuff until I started carrying that pocket knife. He was like, I was always using scissors and I was always dicking around with the tape and trying to get those thick blades that aren't sharp, those chisel ground scissor blades through thick cardboard. And this thin little, S90V blade is so great, and I'm like, yeah, that's why people carry pocket knives, yeah. So if you think that pocket knives are scary weapons and things to be feared, maybe you have a good reason for thinking that. Maybe there's a personal, something that occurred in your life that makes you think that way, and that would make any sane person think that way. And for that, I would never blame you. But again, the statistics are the statistics. I'm not somebody who's can be in all places at all times and can analyze data in the most, the best way possible that's not flawed in any way. But maybe I'm biased, but I'm going to lean towards that probably being true. The kitchen cutlery is, that one big knife that we all have in the block, right? That's definitely in a situation where somebody is just looking for something that they can do the most damage with. That's not a firearm. Yeah, that's going to be pretty convenient. That's going to be pretty in every single household, everywhere, in every part of the world. There's going to be a long knife that we use to process food. So those are generally going to be the knives that people use to do harm. And that's because it's a much longer blade, and and also people who are, and this is something that everybody has said, people who have the intent to do harm are gonna do it. And generally, I feel like if they're really set out, and I wouldn't know, but I'm gonna guess just based on the track record of the world, people and history, people who want to do harm will find a way to do it. So taking away certain objects is not going to stop it. I feel like this is a really risky episode for me because I know the type of firestorm that's going to occur in the comments section, and I don't know. I'm kind of glad that this episode's mixed in with all of my other Knife Guy series, because I didn't want to, it would be obvious what my intent was if I created a different thumbnail and put it on, and tried to make it a visually spicy. I'd be doing exactly the same thing that the media does that I complain about, getting people's attention with something that, sparks their attention, and then talking about something intentionally, controversial intentionally to get everybody riled up. That's not what I want. And that's why this is just being mixed in with all my other Knife Guy stuff, because I feel like the people who watch my Knife Guy episodes are it's the same lot of you over and over and over again, and I appreciate that. But this is something I'm fearful of, because most of us, 99.9% of us, are just wanting to carry our pocket knives because we like pocket knives. We just enjoy the convenience of a good cutting tool. We don't want this ruined by ignorant people and by stupid politicians and by the media. It's shedding a negative light on us, and there's not really a whole lot we can do to completely stop it. Fortunately, there are people out there like Doug Ritter, but the world needs about 1,000 more Doug Ritters. So I'm not the best person to talk about this. I was mostly venting. I feel like a lot of you are gonna feel the same way as me, and feel free to use my comment section to vent, but let's try and keep it sane. If you guys enjoyed this video or at least found it entertaining, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, as usual, click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.